taped, and it's going to be accessible on our website. So our website is it's on all the papers. It's on all the things that you've taken from outside, but it's www.stonybrook.edu/small-business. Oh, and also small business. You can get there by that. Or /SBDC. But it's on all the back of all of our brochures and everything. So I see many people who've been here before to our workshops. Welcome again. But for those of you who've never been to a workshop here, we're the Small Business Development Center. We borrowed this room from Corporate Education and Training. Our offices are actually down the hall. Our training room is a little smaller, so we swapped today. As I said, I'm Ronnie Rosen. I've been with the Small Business Development Center for over 14 years. Wow. I'm even amazed by that. I thought maybe 2 years, 14 years later. So we do a lot of wonderful things to help small businesses. We help businesses from the moment you have an idea and you don't know what to do with that idea. You can meet with a counselor one-on-one, and that person will remain your counselor for as long as you need help, as long as you want advising, counseling. We think of ourselves as coaches, mentors, resources. We have tons of partners that we work with. We help people get ready for bank financing. We have relationships with a lot of banks. We know what they're looking for. We have an outline for a business plan that we use, that we share with you. You have to write the business plan, but we can help you edit the business plan so we know what they're looking for, and we hope that we can get you bank ready. So you can meet with a business advisor for marketing help. We have, as I said, many resources that you can avail yourselves of. We have about 9 advisors now within this office. We have one out in Southampton. The rest are located here. Plus, we recently got very involved in helping people with the Sandy grants, applying for the grants for Sandy, damage just for the businesses. That's all we do. And we have about 4 people that were hired just to do that. So we have quite a nice size, what is it called, staff. That's what I was looking for. So anyway, we also do these workshops. This one, the next one we have is going to be on the 27th of March. There's a flyer outside. It's all about, as a result of Sandy, we learned that a lot of people were not prepared financially. Their records were a mess. They couldn't find anything. And we decided to have a workshop that addresses that. What you need to, how to be organized in case of a disaster. It could be any kind of a disaster, not just a hurricane. But there's information about that outside on the table. And one of our advisors is a CPA, and he's very involved in Sandy. And he was the one that thought this was a really important workshop. So he's going to be doing the workshop along with a woman whose business is organizing businesses and getting their records all together. So she's going to be there too. So if you're interested in that workshop, let me know or call up. There's a form outside, as I said, and the place to register is right on there. It'd be better than all of you walking down to the office and asking to register. So with that, I think I've said everything I need to say about what we do. If you have any questions, you can come up and speak with me. There's a couple of other things I want to mention. First of all, make sure you watch this cord that's down the middle of the room. We've taped it, so I hope it's safe. If you want to use your computer and you want to get on Wi-Fi, there's the information for that. And we're going to be recording. You can probably start any second, Kathy. For those people who are here by email, by our live webinar, if you have questions, you can type them to me, and we'll answer your questions. We're not going to be able to do this live for you. You're not going to be able to ask the questions. You'll have to email us, and we'll respond to you that way. So, Henry, this is Henry Bramwell. His company is Visionary Graphics, or you just call it Visionary now? Visionary?
Yep.
And we've done this before, and I hope you have some new information for us. So.
Absolutely. Do we need to give them the email address if they have
I
questions?
think the ones who've registered already have
Okay.
it. Okay. So if you need, for those of you who are here by your computer, If you're interested in signing in, why do they? Oh, to email us. You mean?
The question.
It's going to be www.sbdc.
SBDC at stonybrook.edu. Yeah.
sbdc@stonybrook.edu. Okay? So, Henry?
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
Okay, so I have, this canned presentation here of things that I think are important, but more importantly, I want to know what's important to you guys. And I think we're going to talk about social media. Are you guys interested in learning more about social media? Is that of interest and how you can use that to help promote your business? Websites, search engines, this type of thing too. Is that of interest? Okay. All right. So we're going in the right direction here. That's always good. So I have my company called Visionary. I started my company back in 1988, and I was just a traditional graphic design firm doing brochures and pamphlets and any sort of print material. And then in the the 90s, as a matter of fact, we're celebrating the 25th anniversary of the Internet today.
Yeah.
Just told me that. So
Yes.
25 years today. Wow.
I wanted to mention that. Oh, no. Just turn off the front lights.
So that's pretty cool. Good timing. But so I had a bunch of clients, and I do marketing for them, and they, started asking me more and more about this thing called the Internet. What is it? How can I get on it? And things like that. So we started, developing websites, very simple, rudimentary websites. We would take your brochure and put it up on the web, and we'd have our phone number there, and we'd all wait for the phone to ring off the hook and make us multimillionaires overnight. And it didn't happen. So we learned. This is kind of the Wild West here with the Internet. It's brand new. I mean, even the most experienced companies that are doing it, and especially with social media, have been doing it for a relatively short period of time. So that's great for small businesses, that you have the potential to access the same audience that these very big, large corporations do too. And that's a very empowering thing for businesses. So, we had Web 2.0, and we understood it's not just about putting what we have to say out there, but it's about putting information on our website that meets our site visitors' needs, our potential clients' needs. It's not about what we have to say. It's about what we can offer as solutions to our clients. And I think that's probably one of the biggest things that people fall into, is they fall in love with what they have to say. And that's not really what it's about. It's about what you can do for someone, how you're different, and how you can help someone. So we have now the web, and people they're adapting their websites, and they start doing things with flash animation and doing all these really funky looking things to make their site look really cool. And then mobile phones come, and they don't support flash technology. So now everyone's got to get rid of the flash off their websites and redo their website so that it fits on a smartphone. And that's called responsive design. You design your website so that it will automatically reformat to the size of a smartphone, a tablet, or whatever you're viewing it on. So that's kind of the latest thing that's going on. But in the past few years, social media has just taken over the Internet. And, how many people have a Facebook page for their business? Anyone doing Twitter for their business? What about Google Plus? Okay. All right. There's others, and I'm not going to be able to cover all of them. And if you're here for me to explain to you how to set up a Facebook page, or I'm not your guy. That's not what I'm here for. I'm here, it's more of a strategic thing, and it's really about content. And it's about getting your content and your message out there and engaging people. Okay, once again, it's not about what you have to say. It's about how you can meet someone's needs and help them. So that being said, let's see here. Oh, I just got to push that. Okay, we'll go the old-fashioned way. All right. Okay, why aren't we not functioning?
Wait. Having trouble moving to the next screen.
The clicker is not working.
Yeah, neither is the arrow. There you go. What did you do?
I clicked on it. I don't know.
Okay.
Hey,
All right.
always
I
does
think
that.
it was
Thank
the
you.
active screen. Things work when I just like walk.
Technology, what are you going to do?
I don't know. I
I think probably our children know more about social media than we do, right? I mean, I because they've been doing it for about the same amount of time or even longer than we have. And what's happened with Facebook, which is enormously popular, and it still is, the younger generation are shifting away from Facebook. And one of the big reasons why is because they don't want their parents seeing everything they're doing. So now they go to things like Vine or even Snapchat, which is this thing where they can send a photo that self-destructs after a couple of seconds. So there's no paper trail of anything they're doing. So, teenagers are getting hip to this whole thing, and they don't really want to be on Facebook anymore because their parents are. And they don't even want to be in the same room with you, so they're not going to be in the same Facebook page with you. Okay, so when it comes to marketing your business, there's really, one important thing you need to just know. And that's hire me. Okay, thank you very much. Does anyone have any questions? That concludes that concludes that one. No. Okay. So we're going to start off having a little bit of a fun side. There's this thing that's been circulating on the internet for the past few months about an analogy explaining how these different social media platforms work. And I thought it was pretty clever, so I incorporated it into it. So what it is it is social media explained with bacon. And I do this for my morning presentation. At night I do social media with sirloin steak, but this morning it's social media with bacon. So we just go through each of the different channels. Right, with Facebook, you like bacon, right? And with Twitter, I'm eating hashtag bacon. Does everyone know what a hashtag is? You will. You will. We'll go over that real quick. I have a lot in here. And by the way, if you have a question, just, shout it out. If it's something I'm going to cover later, I'll tell you. But if not, I'll try to answer. Okay, so then we go to LinkedIn, which is your networking and professional site. I'm good at eating bacon. It's almost kind of like an online resume. Foursquare, which is your local, retailers and restaurants and things like this, and this is where I eat bacon. And YouTube is watch me eat my bacon. Instagram, here's a vintage photo of my bacon. Pinterest, here's a recipe with bacon. And I think we're winding down here. Google+. I work for Google and eat bacon. So that kind of, I thought it was kind of clever, and it kind of helped to explain how the differences between the different social media networks are. So, why is social media important? Like, other than, people sharing photos and telling their personal stories and things like that. I'm not a big fan of people putting their whole life up on Facebook. I think some people are, and for their personal pages, it's great. But I'm just not a big fan of it. But what we want social media to do is one of the most important things is to drive traffic to your website. So if we can put things up in social media, whether it be Twitter, Facebook, or even Pinterest, we want to be able to link them back to your website for more information. That should be an important goal of what you're doing with social media. Social media improves SEO. Does everyone know what SEO is? No. Okay. SEO is an acronym standing for Search Engine Optimization. Okay, what it is, and I do this for my clients, is we optimize a website for the search engines. And how we do that is how we write our copy with keywords and certain code that we put into the website and links coming from other websites into our website. And this is called search engine optimization, or SEO. And there's been a tremendous change in how you can optimize your website for search engines. Last fall, Google changed their algorithms. That's how they search and index a site. Dramatically changed it so that if anyone out there is telling you they have 5 years of SEO experience, it's all out the window. SEO has totally changed within the last 6 months. So SEO is search engine optimization. So when you post something on a social media channel or a social media network, that content is out there on the internet. And Google, which I always just focus on Google as a search engine because they're the biggest. But Google, Yahoo, they go out there, and when they crawl through the website and read all this information, your posts, your blog posts, things you put up on Facebook or Google+, will appear in the search engine. So every time you put something up, that's a potential having content to be put up on the internet. And that's why we tell our children not to write stupid things on their social media things. Social media is a great opportunity to gain better understanding of your clients' perceptions of your business. A lot of my clients say, I don't want to have a Facebook page because someone's going to write something negative, and I don't want to deal with that. And it's like, shame on you. That's a great opportunity. Wouldn't we all want to know if our client, there was something bothering our client and there was something they were not happy about? We would want that opportunity to understand. And I have a very large client that was really fighting me on this Facebook, and they put it up there, and they did get a lot of complaints about an app they developed for their clients. And the app wasn't working correctly, and people were frustrated with the app. And they came to me and said, see, this is what I'm talking about. This negative stuff is all up here. I'm like, they're telling you something. You're not listening. You have to listen. This is a golden opportunity. Some clients will just get frustrated and leave and not say anything. But here the people are telling you they have an issue, and they're using social media, whether it's Twitter or Facebook, to say, we have an issue, or we're very happy with something you're doing. Thanks for doing this. We're really happy that you provide this service. So social media is an opportunity for you to learn more about your clients, and you should be visiting their pages as well. And it's a great opportunity for you to increase the awareness of your business, obviously. Do we have any questions at this point? Okay. So what do we got? So this was a chart. I think I got this from HubSpot. It's the percentage of companies using specific social media and or blogs to acquire a customer. Has anyone actually gotten a customer from social media? Okay. That's good. Okay. I've gotten a few. I mean, obviously, you want more. And by the way, this whole presentation is up on SlideShare. At the end, there'll be a link, and you can go to it, and the presentation is online. So you can download it or embed it or share it or whatever you want to do. So, it's kind of interesting there that Facebook, in terms of acquiring customers, businesses that acquire customers from Facebook, it's pretty high. And so is Twitter and blogs. And that's B2C. Of course, with all of these social media things, you also have the opportunity to advertise with them. I don't know if anyone's done any advertising on Facebook and things like that, but Facebook accumulates all this data on every user, right? They know everything about them. They know their birthday, where they went to college, where they work. They accumulate all this data. So if you wanted to advertise on Facebook, you could reach a very precise demographic. I just did this for a college. They were promoting their master's program, and they wanted to reach out to all the Facebook members that attended a four-year college in the tri-state area. So I was able to go into the Facebook, and I told them all the colleges I wanted to hit: St. John's, Adelphi, Stony Brook. And every Facebook user that had that in their profile, I was able to put together a list. And then I told it how old I wanted them to be, between certain age groups. There's a bunch of different things you can plug in, so you can reach your exact targeted audience. So all of these, and even now Twitter, they're all trying to do advertising, and they're all trying to figure out how to make, money doing this. So you can see that people are getting customers from social media. They are. All right. So I'm just going to go through for each of the different major social media channels. I'm just going to go through some statistics because there's some pretty interesting things about how widely used they are. But first we have here the percentage of companies that have an active presence. And Facebook leads the pack there. That 76% of the companies surveyed there have a Facebook page. And then Twitter, you go down the line, LinkedIn. It's kind of surprising to me, that LinkedIn wouldn't be above Twitter or something like that, because LinkedIn's kind of the professional networking thing, But, you go down the line, YouTube, Instagram, and even Tumblr. Does anyone know what Tumblr is? Tumblr is like a blogging site. It's almost like a micro-blogging site, and it's really used by the younger generation. They're on Tumblr, They're putting their information, sharing Instagram photos, cool stuff on Tumblr. So let's start off with Facebook. 71% of all U.S. Internet users are on Facebook. It's a huge amount. Okay? 74% of marketers believe it's important. And you just showed me an article in the paper that said that a lot of marketers felt it was important to be on Facebook for their business, yet 64% of them weren't. But 65 thought it was important to be on there. So I think that a lot of that has to do with they just don't understand what to do or how to do it. They know it's important, but they just don't know what to do. And then users share 2.5 billion pieces of content every day. That's a tremendous amount of content. And they have over 1 billion active users. I mean, that is an incredible number. So, you know, everyone's on Facebook. The one thing I will say about Facebook as a marketer is no one logs on to their Facebook page because they're interested in buying a product or a service. You understand what I'm saying? It's like they're not going to, hey, let's see, I'm interested in, you know, I want to buy a car, or I want to, you know, research vacations. They're not going to Facebook for that. They're going to Facebook for, you know, sharing, communicating, you know, catching up, engaging, things like that. So it's important to know, like, how you can leverage each of these different social media channels for your business. You know, Facebook is kind of like a cocktail party. And you're at this cocktail party, and if all you do is talk about yourself and show pictures of your family and tell them how great you are, people are not going to be very interested in you. They're going to start to avoid you and go to the other side of the room. But if you engage the people at the cocktail party, how are you doing? What's going on with your thing? It's just common sense that you just don't talk about yourself on Facebook and expect people to respond. So just always remember that Facebook's kind of like a cocktail party. And in order to, you know, engage someone, you need to understand what they're doing and take an interest in what they have to say. So that's extremely important. Let me just go to the next slide about Facebook. Okay, Facebook gives your business an image, right? We can all put our banners up there. We can put photos up there. You know, what's going on with the business, latest things. Do we have? We're opening up a new division. You know, we have a new product, new people coming on board. I try to use Facebook. I'm not a big Facebook guy, so it's just a personal thing, but I use it to help promote some of my clients' things that they're working on. So, like one of my clients did like a clothing drive. So I put that on my Facebook page because I want to try to help promote my clients' things and stuff like that. So, but it does give your business an image, and you can have live conversations with people who matter, making it a more personal experience. So you want to engage. You just don't want to talk at someone. You want to talk with someone. It's very important you make that distinction. All your links and posts on Facebook are indexed by search engines. That's what I said before, right? So when we do put something up there, if it's something about your business, you want to think, is this an opportunity to link back to my website? Okay? You want to think about that. You might not just want to leave them there at your Facebook page. Can I bring them back to my website? Can I drive them back there? It's going to be one of my product or services pages. Through comments or posts, you can have direct feedback and conversations with your target audience. We spoke about that. We talked about it's a great opportunity for your clients to give you direct feedback. It's a huge advantage. All right, YouTube. YouTube's got some mind-blowing statistics, and I'm going to tell you an interesting YouTube story. Well, first of all, it's the #2 search engine behind Google. It's owned by Google, but it's the #2 search engine. So it's a great resource for traffic and leads. 500 years of YouTube videos are watched on Facebook every day. And more videos are uploaded to YouTube in 1 month than the 3 major networks created in 60 years. And my son said, what are 3 major networks? Right? He said, what is that? And then I said, wow, that's true, right. There's no such thing as 3 major networks anymore. But that's a huge amount of video. Huge amount of video. And I'm just going to tell you an interesting story about how effective YouTube can be. I have a friend, his name is Bart. He owns a bike store where I live in West Hampton. And he rents bikes during the summer. That was the big part of his business, was renting bikes for day trippers and things like that. He sold the bikes as well. He repaired the bikes, but his big business was renting bicycles. And it came to the point where he couldn't afford the insurance anymore. So he was not able to rent bikes anymore. It just was not feasible for his business. So Bart, who's a bit of a character, started making YouTube videos in his basement. He got a cheap camera with a tripod, and he just went to town making videos on everything from how to fix your bike, how to remove a link out of the chain, how to assemble a BMX racer, how to put pegs on your wheels. And he made these series of videos. And what was interesting is first and foremost, he's a character. He's got a mohawk, he's loud, he's all over the place. But he's also very passionate about what he does, and he knows his stuff. And that all translated in these homemade videos he made. So he started making all these videos. He's probably got over 100, I would say maybe 200 videos on his YouTube channel. And what happened? People started looking. I have a question about a bike. How do I do this? How can I change out this piece on a bike? So people started doing searches, and they found him, and then they started to subscribe to his channel. He has hundreds of thousands of subscribers to his channel. His business is now on the internet. He was the YouTube Merchant of the Year. And he totally revolutionized his business. And he did it because even though he was an expert with what he did, he had a beginner's mind. He said, what if? What if I made videos instructing people how to put these products together? What if I became the expert on bicycles? What if? And just that simple question, what if, empowers you to want to try new things. And he was very successful doing it. He transformed his business because he asked himself, what if? We all don't want to be experts. Okay, people with the expert mind, they replicate past success. They say, well, look, I've been doing this for 20 years. That's how we did it. I was successful doing it, and that's how I'm going to continue to do it. Those people go out of business. I've had clients like that, very successful businesses who built their business, but they were not able to adapt. And they said, this is how I did it. I'm not going to change. And that's it. You're out. So we always want to have what I refer to as a beginner's mind. We want to ask ourselves, what if? What if I made videos about my product? What if I did become an expert on what I do? What if? Okay, very important. Very important. We all don't have all the answers, but we should all want to yearn to find the answers and try something different. And it can be a lot of fun doing it. There's some great opportunities. Oh, I'm sorry.
But how did he make money doing it? They automatically, just by...
Well, first of all, YouTube pays him because now his channel is so popular. The traffic that goes to him, he monetized his channel, which you can do with YouTube because he gets so much traffic to his site. YouTube pays him. I don't know how much it is, and it's certainly not enough to earn a living, but they pay him because of the traffic, because they put advertising on his page.
So
he
was just doing it out of a hobby kind of thing, just doing it,
well,
and then they found him?
It was his passion, and he was doing it as a business, but what happens is people order bikes from him because what happened was, look, they feel comfortable. Like if you go into a store, right, and you're looking to buy a product, let's say you're looking to buy a TV, and you go into the store, and the sales associate is very knowledgeable. He understands his product. He's listening to you, right, and he's understanding what you want. He's trying to match you up with what you need. You're going to feel very comfortable with that guy, and the next time you want to go buy something else, you're going to go back and look for that guy. And that's the same thing that happened with my friend Bart. So that people said, you know what, Bart, I want to buy the bike from you because you know everything about this stuff, and I want to get this part or I want to get this. So they ordered from him, and he has an online store now. So he sells parts and things online. So it's about becoming the expert in what you do. And when you become the expert and you're willing to share knowledge and educate your customers, then you have a friend for life. That's the recipe, okay? So he made how-to videos, okay? You could do very simple things. I've shot videos on my iPhone for clients and put it up on a website. That's the great thing now about YouTube. The production quality it's not Hollywood. You can use a simple handheld camera and you can do things. Videos are very powerful because they can convey a very complex message visually in like 30 seconds rather than try to explain it with a page of text. So, I encourage my clients all the time. I have a client that's a bank. So I said, let's make YouTube videos about issues your customer service department are having, so that we can put the short little 30-second videos up on their website so that you can say, look, there's a video explaining how you do this. I'll email you the link. So there's a lot of opportunity there. And YouTube is There's so many people going on to YouTube now. I don't know how your kids are, but my son doesn't watch network television or even television anymore. Between YouTube and Hulu and Netflix, I can't tell you how many people I know canceled their cable and are now just using Netflix. It's amazing how quickly things have changed. And YouTube is, they're going to start developing their own content, their own shows. They're going to become a network, like NBC or something like that. The great thing about YouTube is that all the social network sites, websites, blogs, you can easily integrate or put a YouTube video on your blog or on your website or within your Facebook post. You can embed a video. YouTube gives you this little piece of code, an embedded code, that you can put into a blog or your website and things like that. It's very easy to share. Yeah.
Would you say video is catching up on YouTube, or is YouTube still looking to market on video? Some of my clients are getting to like a higher end portion.
You said Vimeo, you said? Yeah. Vimeo is another video website. Here's what I would say to you.
Repeat the question so the people online.
So I think you wanted to know, compared to YouTube, how Vimeo kind of ranks, and should you do both or focus on one? And what I would say to you, with everything you do, if you have a video, start with YouTube. Put it up on YouTube. That's your home. You're going to create a channel. All your businesses, if you have a YouTube account, you're going to create a channel, and that's going to be your business's channel. And there's going to be really two things that are going to go up there. Videos you might have produced on your own, or videos that exist within YouTube that you can add to your playlists. And then you can create different playlists. So it's just like TV. This is reruns and syndication, and we're going to show that. We're going to show old Seinfeld episodes, and we created this new one ourselves. So you become a programmer, and you're able to do this. So I would start with YouTube, but then I would also, depending on the type of business it is, I would also use Vimeo, but I would start with YouTube because that is far and away. And a lot of it depends on your demographics, right? Don't you think Vimeo skews a little bit younger? Yeah, I would think so.
There's no copyright infringement taking other people's videos and putting them on.
All right, yeah. In terms of copyright infringement on videos, if it's a video that you can see on YouTube, so that means it's publicly viewed, there's a button right there to add it to your playlist. That's viral. They want you to. That's the whole purpose of YouTube, right? If you create a video and someone sees that and says, that's pretty cool, I want to share that, and I do it all the time. There's a guy named Matt Cutts who's with Google, and there's another guy, Rand Fishkin from Moz. He does something called Blackboard Friday, and every Friday he does a little video. And he's Whiteboard Friday, I'm sorry. And he does these very interesting videos about internet, search engine, and things like that. And they're very informative. And I'll take that video and I'll put it in one of my blogs because I think, wow, this is worth sharing. This is great. So there is no restriction. If there's a restriction, then they'll designate that video as being private, and you wouldn't be able to see it. But that's the whole purpose of YouTube, is to share.
Could you repeat the name of that person who just did that that you recommended?
Rand Fishkin. It's Moz. It's, Mozilla. That's the people who do a Firefox browser. His name's Rand. The guy is great. What he does is, and the way he does it is, he's got a big whiteboard, and he's got all his things, that's spelled out. And then what he does is he gives you a little screen capture of the whiteboard underneath it, and then he gives you the transcript of his whole thing, and it's called Whiteboard Friday, and it's great. And then Matt Cutts, who's the Google guy, he answers a lot of very common questions that people might have about Google. And they do these little little YouTube things. And I add them to my blog all the time, or if this is worth sharing, I add them to my playlist. Like I have a playlist maybe for search engine optimization on my YouTube channel. This is a great video. I want to share this with my people. So that's what it's all about. All right, Twitter. I kind of got addicted to Twitter in the past couple of years, and I have three different Twitter accounts. I have one for my business. I have one for one for something else I do, and then I have a personal one. But Twitter is great. But the interesting stat is most people access Twitter over a mobile device. You know, they do it. I do it. If I'm standing on the line at the bank, I'm looking at my Twitter feed. I'm looking to see if there's anything interesting that maybe I could share and things like that, or retweet. Does everyone know like the anatomy of a tweet and Twitter and how that works? You want me to go over that real quick? Okay. So Twitter is a micro-blogging site, and what I mean by that is you're limited to 140 characters in your post. No more. Cut you off. So you only have 140 characters, including spaces and punctuation, to say what you have to say. And what you want to do is when you put out a new tweet, what you want to do is you use these things called hashtags, and I'm going to go over hashtags. Hashtags are a way to categorize your subject matter. So when you put a hashtag, like say, for example, hashtag social media, if you click on that hashtag, any other tweet from anyone that used the same hashtag will appear in your list. So it's a great way to learn about what your business is. So you want to research hashtags. So you use these things called hashtags. And what you want to do is, in this 140 characters, you got to get right to the point. You got to say what you have to say. And the most effective tweets are something where people kind of ask like an engaging question, like need to know the 5 things you need to know about having a successful Facebook page. And then there'll be a little link that could go to a website. And because you're limited to 140 characters, some web addresses are like a mile long, right? So what you do is they have this little optimizer that converts that long web address into a tiny little web address of maybe 6 or 7 characters. So they call it like tiny URL. I think it's Owly, OW.ly. You can go in and shorten that URL because Twitter's all about, 140 characters. So you send out your tweet, and then you're looking at other people because you're following people, right? You're following people, and people are following you. So you're following people. So you want to go and find, if it's competitors, people that are doing the similar type of business to you, your clients, you want to follow them. So all their tweets are going to come up in your Twitter feed. And then what you might want to do is you say, wow, that's a good tweet that this person did. I'm going to retweet it. So you just hit the button and you retweet it. So now what you're doing is you found something from your followers, from people you're following, and you're going to share it with your followers. So you can retweet. And there's other things too you can do. But the power of Twitter are in these hashtags, because what you do is click on that hashtag, and you can see if you want to learn about a subject and things like that, you click on that hashtag, and you'll see an unbelievable amount of content that's being updated like every 2 seconds. I mean, just think about how many people are on Twitter. 400 million tweets a day.
That's like what Ellen did on the Academy Awards, and she retweeted that picture. Well, since that picture on the Twitter feed, it's the most retweeted picture in the history.
Right, and there's some other guy now that's trying to get 1 million. I don't want to. Some for charity. He's trying to get his retweeted too. But
so where did you go to find out the meaning of these hashtags? Like, where would?
Okay, I'm going to go over that. I'm going to go over hashtags specifically. But generally, you can create your own hashtag. But chances are, the hashtag is already created, right? Because you want to kind of be mainstream with your hashtags, right? So in my case, social media would be a very popular hashtag. So I would just go to Twitter, or even all these social media now are using hashtags. You ever notice now, like you ever watch like Dr. Phil, and they show the closing things, and now there's not a web address anymore. It just says hashtag Dr. Phil. I mean, so hashtags are becoming an important way to categorize content. Okay, and I'm going to go over that in detail. But Twitter, the interesting thing about Twitter is, there's certain times of the day that are more popular than others. So you need to understand, like, your potential customers, when are they going on Twitter? I found that from like 4 to 5, and from like 8 to 9 in the morning, and 4 to 5 in the afternoon, when I was getting the peak amount of Twitter traffic. It could be different for different businesses, but I found that. And what happens is you tweet something out there, it will fall way down low in the because other people are constantly tweeting and your stuff gets pushed down. So, if you're saying, look, I'm tweeting once a week, it's not going to work. You need to be tweeting a few times a day. And it doesn't take long. So if you said to yourself, look, I'm gonna retweet a couple things, which is nothing more than hitting a button, right? Just say I'm going to retweet this because it's interesting, and then I'll come up with a couple of original tweets of my own, and just do a few a day, and you'll start to build your followers. And obviously, the more people you follow, they may follow you in return. There's kind of an etiquette, in many cases. But once again, you don't want to just talk about yourself and say, hey, we're having a great sale on shoes, click on this link. Who's going to be interested in that? You have to provide something of value, okay? And I'm going to tell you where you get ideas for content, because that's what this is all about. That's what this is all going to come back to, whether it's a website or social media or anything. So you can see a tremendous amount of Twitter. Businesses use Twitter to converse with prospects and provide customer service. I did a webinar 2 weeks ago about social media and customer service. And the head of social media for Nissan was one of the guest, guys at the webinar. And he was speaking about Nissan's Twitter account, and they've been doing it for 1.5 years. And he was proud of the fact that if a customer came in and tweeted a question or had a concern, that they had a 4-hour response time. And I was amazed. Nissan, one of the largest global brands in the world, first of all, has only been doing it 1.5 years, so you can catch up pretty quick. And they're kind of on the cutting edge. But 4 hours is an acceptable amount of time to get back to someone? I thought that was kind of strange, So the good news is even if you start today with Twitter, set up your account and just go in there, and I don't want to say play around, but just go in and, follow some people, see how the tweets are composed, because tweets are composed a certain way. You're going to have a hashtag. You don't want to use more than 2 hashtags, because everything you do, whether it's a tweet, a Facebook post, a blog post, or a page on your website, everything you do should really focus on one keyword strategy. So if you're an insurance company and you do automobile insurance and you do personal insurance and you do other types of insurance, the tweet should be specific to one particular keyword phrase. Okay, and if you're doing a blog post or anything like that, because that's the only way Google's going to really be able to index it. If you throw the kitchen sink in there, what categories are going to fall under? So you need to focus on keywords. You want to come up with keywords that you think your customer or your audience is going to use to find you, not the industry terms that you use, what your customer would use to find you.
Your keywords, I should say the hashtag follows the keywords, I should say, right?
Repeat the question.
Do hashtags follow the keywords?
When you say, okay, enter with the keywords.
No, there's no particular order in a tweet. You would probably want the keywords right in the beginning of a tweet or in a message. It's important to get the keywords up front. And when I refer to keywords, it's more what we call a long tail keyword. It's just not cars. Okay, that's just way too broad. And if you did a search for cars, the chances of you finding a local car dealer here in Stony Brook are about 0. So you want to use what's called a long tail keyword. It might be, car dealer, Stony Brook, right? So you need to focus on, what we call long tail keywords, and I'll go through that too. But Twitter is a great thing for customer service. But what happens in even big companies, and if you Google this, you'll see this, like big companies mishandling customer service on Twitter. Because what they do is they have an auto reply. So someone will voice a concern and it will say, thank you very much for your concern. Someone will get back to you. And then you see that every time. So a lot of big companies are stumbling on how to do this. They're still trying to figure it out. Okay, they're still trying to figure out how to adequately use these social media things for customer service.
So would you say that you would need someone to monitor it all day, just like have a person?
No, I mean, if you're a big company, they do have someone monitoring all day. But if you're a small business owner, what you do is you check in like twice a day. What you have to do is you have to make this part of your daily routine, because social media is not about hitting a home run, doing one thing and getting massive results. Social media is about doing all the little things right over a period of time.
Should you archive your tweets on your blogs or a landing page back to your site?
Well, you,
Can't say exactly.
the question was, should you archive your tweets back to a landing page or to a page on your site? Well, what you want to do is if you tweet something, you might want to put a link to something on your site. The tweets are archived on Twitter. They're there. You can click on a button and follow all your own posts. You can look at all your own posts over time, or even someone, a follower can do that too. So you really want to use that link to kind of drive back to your website. Would really be the purpose for it.
How can you determine where most of your customers and potential customers are on social media? I mean, you listed probably 5 or 6, main ones here. There's probably 50 around the world.
Okay.
And as a small business person, you barely have time to do
So,
what you're doing rather than monitor.
Right, and I'm going to go over this. The first thing you need to do before you even start messing around with this stuff is you got to understand who your customer is. And that's what we call a persona. We want to develop a persona, and you may have 5 different personas. You may have 5 different types of customers. I have different types of clients. I have clients that rely on me to do website design. I have clients that just pay me to do their social media. Those are 2 different types of people with different needs and different concerns and different budgets. I have a client that just uses us for overflow work from their marketing department. So I have different personas. So what you need to do is, and I'll go over that, you need to understand who it is first. And then you can say, okay, for example, I'm trying to attract, females, between the age of 25 and 50 that have children. Well, that's Facebook. That's not Google+. Okay, that's Pinterest.
Yeah.
Because 70% of people on Pinterest are women. Okay, so it's very important that you understand first and foremost who it is you're talking to, and then you can find the proper social media. It's very difficult to do all of them, and there are ways to do it, but it's very difficult. All right, so LinkedIn, which is kind of important. We're all businesses here. Just as a matter of, you should all have a LinkedIn page. Even if it's a personal page, you should all have one. And it's very important that you fill out your profile and put all your information up there. And it's interesting that there are now company pages in LinkedIn. 3 million companies have it. And 50% of the users have a bachelor's degree or higher. So once again, I'm looking for a certain type of person. It's a male who maybe has a master's degree, someone with higher education, someone like that, a professional, like a doctor or something. That's LinkedIn. Okay, that's not Tumblr. Tumblr's for teenagers looking to do selfies. So it's very important. Okay, so people typically visit LinkedIn to make connections, but they're also there to learn and get industry insights and find out things about their industry. And people use it as a resume to get a job too. But they have these things called groups in LinkedIn, and you want to find groups that tailor to what your business is about and join these groups and participate by sharing content with these groups. It's now networking with people who are in the same industry as you. So LinkedIn's really important. I mean, just as a default, if you're a business, you should be on LinkedIn. Because the first thing someone's going to do when you're going to have an appointment with you, they're going to look you up. Right? When I get an appointment with a new client, I Google their name, and invariably the LinkedIn page comes up. And I go to the LinkedIn page, and I learn everything I can about them. This is where they went to college. This is where they worked before. I'm looking for something that would get me a connection, that when I go in there with a new client, say, hey, I happen to notice you went to St. John's University. I have a connection with St. John's. Or you have 2 children, you like boating, whatever it is. So people go on to LinkedIn to learn about their clients and things like that. But it's really important that you set up a LinkedIn page. Very important.
So are you saying that your LinkedIn page people post up there on a daily basis too?
Well, you can post content and share information socially on your LinkedIn page. Absolutely. So if you find something that's interesting, and I'm going to show you a piece of software that allows you to post things to Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter all at once. Okay. So yes, you want to share that content. You would also share it within your groups. Okay, because once again, it's all about positioning you as an expert in what you do. That's what we want to do here. So if people see you have a LinkedIn profile, there's certain expectations now, right? If you're a business and you don't have a website, how do you think that looks? Right? I mean, it's not good, right? right? If you're a real small business, it's understandable. If you're a business, you've been around, you don't have a website, and you say, I don't need one of those things, you were probably one of the people who said telephones were going to be a fad too. So you really need to do these things and contribute and be active in your groups. I belong to different groups, both personally and professionally, and I'll share content, and then I'll get an email of all the different posts that other members in the group have contributed, and I'll say, wow, this is a great article. This is something that's of interest to me, and I'll click on it, and I'll read it, and then you can comment on it. Next one is Instagram. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on Instagram, except it is becoming hugely popular. And Instagram is really photos. It's photo sharing. It's social media for photos. Everything's becoming more visual, like Instagram and Vine. Vine's another one where you can put short little looped videos up, and it's really more for the mobile, right? Instagram is all about using your cell phone to maybe capture a sunset or someone tripping or something. It's capturing life's moments, and people love to share that stuff. It becomes viral. So businesses are using Instagram now more and more. And once again, you can use hashtags in Instagram to categorize your content. Yeah, I'm going to get to that. I got a section on hashtags. Pinterest. I kind of like Pinterest. It's one of the newer kids on the block with social media. It's been around. Like I said, almost 70% of Pinterest users are female. And what it is, it's like a collection of bulletin boards where you can clip images, whether they're from your desktop or from other websites and things like that, and you create little boards of interest. And I have one for my business, and because I'm in the visual communications, I put samples of my work up there. But I also have different boards that of our interest to our business. For example, I have a Pinterest board on Long Island, and I have great photos of different areas of Long Island because I have out-of-state clients, and I want them to see this is the area we're in. My staff has their staff picks, like we have our favorite movies. I have one, my personal favorites, like bad hair. I have like a board on bad hair. And then I have private boards where I'll collect information that I might want to use for a client. So you can have all these different boards. And a lot of people will come to your site, and if it's of interest to them, they'll repin it. So they'll add it to their boards. And that's how this whole viral thing works, right? But Pinterest is really, really strong for e-commerce. If you're selling products online, you put it up on Pinterest, that click-through to e-commerce, there's no other social media network stronger than Pinterest in terms of driving traffic to an e-commerce site. Pinterest is really, food is the #1 category, and oddly enough, garlic cheesy bread is the #1 topic. And if anyone asks me why, I will just tell you right now I don't know. But it's really cool, and the thing about Pinterest is that it's all cumulative. That when you add things to your boards, and you create more boards, it's all cumulative. And you use hashtags in Pinterest too. So let's say you're searching for social media. Like I have a social media Pinterest board. So I'll use the hashtag social media, and I'll see all the other Pinterest boards that have social media. And I can look at their boards and say, that's a great thing. That's interesting. I want to share that with my followers. So it's using hashtags. And, Pinterest is certainly on the rise. It's coming on strong. But it's not for all businesses, like I said, because it is, it's largely female. If you're trying to reach men, and you're selling, some sort of heavy machinery, Pinterest might not, it's not going to work. Unless it makes garlic cheesy bread, then maybe it will work. All right, so Google Plus. I left Google Plus at the end of this whole thing because it's, in my opinion, becoming one of the most important social media channels. Okay, Google Plus is like Facebook for business, but the difference between the two is that you can distinguish your connections, your people, your followers. You can distinguish them by different circles. So I have, for example, I have in my Google Plus, I have my employees in a circle, and I can share information with them. Then I have clients. Then I'll have, I have a thing for a search engine optimization. So you can create these different circles, and then people join your circles, and you share specific content with them. And there's a thing called the +1 button, which is just kind of like a like button for Google Plus. It's clicked 5 billion times a day. And 67% of the users of Google Plus are male. So, why am I so high on Google Plus? Because Google Plus is Google. That's the short answer to this. Why is it important? Because it's Google. That's why. So it is, Google has a plan, and they're integrating all of the things they do, okay? Everything they do. Anyone use Google Docs? Great tool. It's an online way to share documents over a cloud, and it's free. You can share spreadsheets, you can share Word documents, and things like that over the internet. Yeah? Yes. Yeah, it's a cloud thing, but what it is, it's similar to Dropbox, but it actually has applications within it that you can use. So you can set up a spreadsheet in Google Docs, okay? And then I can invite you, and you to have access and to edit that spreadsheet over the internet. And then I can embed that spreadsheet on a page on my website. I can make a form in Google Docs, paste it onto my website, and when people fill out the form, it'll be saved into an Excel spreadsheet in Google Docs. Google Docs is a great collaborative tool, and you know, we're talking about the internet. It is collaborative. Everything we do is collaborative now. Okay, you know, I have an office down in North Carolina. You know, we work seamlessly. It's like she's in the next room because we use things like Google Docs. We chat. We video chat. We Google. You know, we have Google meetings with videos and things. So, you know, the web and the internet is all about collaboration, and Google Docs is a great collaborative tool. Chrome is your browser. Okay, like Internet Explorer. You have Chrome. Gmail. How many people have Gmail accounts? Well, if you have a Gmail account, then you have a Google account. Okay, so that Gmail account means you can set up a YouTube page, a Blogger account, Google Analytics, Picasa, which is photos. If you have that Gmail account, you have a Google account. And if you're logged into your Gmail account, right, because you check your mail, guess what? When you're surfing the internet, it knows what you're searching, and it knows where you are based out of, and it's gonna bring results back to you based on your profile with Google.
Aren't there some serious privacy issues, though? That's my understanding, like, yes. Are you going to talk about that at all?
Well, I'll talk about it real quick. I mean, yeah, sure. I mean, Google has been pretty strong about the privacy. But the bottom line is this. I mean, they know. They know an awful lot. They know what websites you're on. They know your surfing habits. And, you know, they know what you're buying. I mean, there's a tremendous amount of information out there that is, you know, now the question is what do they do with it, right? And some companies will resell that information, okay? But, you know, what I recommend to all you guys is that if you are collecting email addresses, like if people, you know, you're collecting email addresses or something in a form, we have what's called a privacy policy. And what you want to do is you have a privacy policy telling people, I'm not going to resell your information. I'm not going to share your information with others. It's very important. Because once that trust is compromised, you got big problems. You know, so, but when you're logged into your Google account, because you checked your mail, if you go to like the Google search page, you can see up in the upper right-hand corner, if you're logged in, right, it'll have your web address up there. You may even have your picture. So it's going to also deliver results in the search custom to you because you're logged into your account. It knows who you are. Okay, so it's so Google Plus is all integrating with it. So if you add a video to your YouTube channel, it's going to appear on your Google Plus page automatically. If you put photos up in Picasa, which is like Flickr, or you know, it's like where you can put your photos, it's going to show up on your Google Plus page automatically. You know, Blogger, if you write a blog post, you click the button, it can go to your Google Plus page.
How would it know which circle to put the information?
It's going to ask you when you go to share it. It's going to say which circles do you want to put it in. So it's important when you do this. You know, you want to set this up to make sure that when you set up your YouTube account, you're using your same account as your Gmail. Okay, you don't have to have a Gmail account, but if you do, you automatically now are Google. You know, you're have a Google password and everything. So Google Plus integrates with all these things, and that's the plan. I mean, you know, that is the plan. So, and I'm going to show you an example of why Google Plus is important. Okay, so here it is. The circles, right? They're categories you create to organize your followers. Then you have extended circles, which are friends of friends, and they might see your content because these circles might overlap. There's a local component to Google Plus, right? Does anyone have like a Google business page? It's a free page. If you don't, you should. Use your Gmail account, and I don't know if they call it Google Business Plus, but it's a free listing. Do you ever notice when you do a search, there's these little map pins? That's your Google Business page coming up. And very important that you do that, okay? So there's a local component. And then there's the Hangout. In my office, we use the Hangout all the time. So Hangout is we set up an appointment, and we video chat. So like I have people in different states, so we'll video chat, once a week or so. And then you have communities. And communities are almost kind of like groups in LinkedIn, where it's created by brands or individuals to create conversations about a specific topic. Okay, it's kind of like the groups in LinkedIn. So that's kind of like the nuts and bolts of it. Okay. So here it is. Your search ranking can improve if you use Google+. A strong presence on Google+ can give you a higher page rank and increased visibility. Well, Google+ says, you're using Google+, you'll show up in Google. And I did it as an example. Yesterday, I wrote a Google+ post. Okay? Is that it? So I wrote this little post. You can see my name up there. At 7:51, I wrote this thing about content marketing. It isn't just for big brands. You also notice I used the hashtag, content marketing. Okay? And then the hashtag appeared. Guess what? Right after I posted this thing on my Google+ page, I went down to Google and did a search, and looky, here it is, 16 seconds ago. There it is in Google.
But that's edited for all those searches are specific to your personal profile.
Well, and the people who were within my circles. Okay, it's not just me. It's the people within my circles and the friends of the friends within my circles.
But excuse me, if I type this content marketing on my computer, probably won't show on the first.
Not necessarily.
Yeah, because it's really.
So the magic of it is you have to expand your circles, right? And it's not about reaching 1 million people. It's about reaching 50 people that you want to reach, right? I mean, business. The old days of marketing where you reach out to 100,000 people hoping you get 1% or 0.5% or whatever. That's not what it's about. It's about reaching the right people and communicating with them. That might be 20 people. That might be 100 people. It might be 1,000 people. So you have to work on expanding your circles. That's the key. You're right.
Yes, I can talk on it.
Yeah. So, but it just shows you the correlation. That's what I wanted to show you is this correlation here, that it's immediate. Okay, so Google+ is important. So your tips for using social media, you want to listen to what people are saying, okay, and you want to reply immediately, and you want to have a human voice. Yes.
How can you track if you're a business owner? Most of the folks out here, the KPIs on your social media. What are good key performance indicators that it's working?
Okay, I'm going to go over that. That's a good idea. How are you going to measure success, right? What time do you want to take a break, Ronnie?
I was thinking, we find that when we take a break, it extends and people
So
come
keep
up.
going?
Yeah.
Right.
That was one more hour. Can you wait? Okay, let's go.
I'll just drink some water and we're good.
Okay, it breaks up the whole flow.
You got it.
Unless you have to take a break.
Nope.
Okay.
So here's what it comes down to. Social media is content marketing. And why is that important? I'm going to tell you why that's important. Yep. I'm going to explain it to you, too. I'm going to explain it right on the next slide. Well, we'll go to the next slide. I believe it has a definition of content marketing. Content marketing is the creation and sharing of media and publishing content in order to acquire a customer. That's what content marketing is. And here's why it's important. And I touched on it before. Back last fall, Google changed their algorithms on how they search and index websites and display results. It's called the Hummingbird Update. I don't know if anyone's ever heard that. It's a weird name. But it's called the Hummingbird Update. And this was done pretty quietly. And what happened was I do search engine optimization for a living. I have clients that pay me to do work on their website so that they continually rank on the first page on a Google search. Then all of a sudden, that stopped happening. I was like, what's going on? Everything's dropping off. It's not happening. Google changed their whole approach. And the big reason why they did it is because they were trying to facilitate the mobile search. They found that when people did searches on their mobile phone, they asked a question and they wanted an answer. So they call that like a semantic search. Whereas before, when you did a Google search, you typed in a keyword, right? You typed in a word or you typed in a couple words, But now, because people are doing it on their phone, where is the nearest gas station? You know, or something. You know what I mean? Like it's different things. So people start typing. So they had to change the way they indexed websites and delivered results. But a big part of what they did is they said we're not gonna reward customers for using SEO tactics, which is optimizing a site for the search engines. We would put keywords in there. We would do meta tags within the background of the site, and that's what got the site up. Google said that's not what this is about. What this is about is we are delivering the best result to that person, the best answer to that person's question, not who can trick the SEO, you know, who's best at doing that. We work for the person doing the search. So the line between writing good SEO copy for search engines and engaging copy for humans has disappeared. It's all about writing engaging, informative copy. Google looks at that copy and says, are they an expert at what they're talking about? Do they know what they're talking about? Are they providing informative information about what they do? Did they copy and paste that copy from another website? Because we know that too. Google can tell that. If you lift something from another website, word for word, you just say, wow, that's perfect. It's just what I want. They know it. Because, yeah, I'm sure. Because what happens is they can index that word for word, and they say, this person had it 2 years ago, and you just used it now. So we're going to penalize you. You know, you're not writing your own copy. You're lifting it. And I learned this. Actually learned it from my son. I went into his biology class, and the teacher gave, open house and gave this little thing that they use this software on the internet when they take all the kids have laptops, so all the homework is done on a laptop and it's emailed to the teacher. He runs it through this program, and if he sees that copy was lifted from like a Wikipedia page or something like that, he could tell. Okay, he could tell, and then he would penalize the kids. You know, so Google uses that same technology to know, did you write your copy? Where did you get it from? You know, you looked it from another site? Okay. All right, well, that's not going to help you. You know, that's not what we're talking about. So, you know, the days of keyword stuffing or writing meaningless content that impresses the search engine are over. Okay? Content is king. So content, whether it's, yeah.
Is that just for Google? What about you doing on Yahoo?
Yeah, oh, yeah, all search engines. I just chose to focus on Google because they're by far the biggest. But yes, all search engines.
Because on some of the things that I have to write stuff on, they ask you to, put in keywords. And I'm thinking, all right, what am I going to put in?
You know,
Should I just ignore it?
no, it's an interesting thing because you can, there's things called the keyword tags where you can put a list of keywords in with things. And Google says, and you ask Google, does this work? And they said, no, it doesn't really work, but it can't hurt. Well, what kind of answer is that? So should I do it or not? And they're like, well, it can't, it's not going to hurt you, but we don't think it's going to help you. But I would say you put them in. And if you have the opportunity to put hashtags in, even better. So Yahoo's a little bit different than Google with this, but they'll fall in line with it because this is really what it's about. It's about you having a question. You go to Google, you ask your question, and they provide an answer.
Does that mean, so like now when I set up my website page before, I used to put in like
Yeah.
salsa lessons, wedding games, like I used keywords that I thought that would be good. And now like Carol will be saying where to learn to dance, or where to take dance lessons.
You would probably want to do, like on the title of your page, you might want to do salsa lessons, Suffolk County or something. Where we talked about that long tail keyword. You don't want to stuff it. Google's going to look at your copy and say, we want well-written, well-constructed copy. If you're just putting in, keywords every other word and it's really not, properly constructed sentences, they're going to penalize you. So, that's and it's the right thing to do. I mean, I earned a living, doing this stuff to people's sites, stuffing keywords in there and changing stuff.
So if you have it, like say you have it about us and it gives you the information about, which qualifies you as an expert in your industry, and you mentioned Long Island, Suffolk County, Lake Grove, all that, is it now going to be, does it have to be tagged a certain way for them to find you? Otherwise, just writing words, like does it? No,
if you do it in the about section, you'll put in there, but you got to do it naturally. So if you're located in Lake Grove, New York, you'll say that. Okay, now the problem comes when you have companies like a locksmith, and they have one physical location. And what they'll do is they'll stuff their website saying Locksmith Sayville, Locksmith Stony Brook, Locksmith this, Locksmith that, and they go and they stuff it. Google says that's a tremendous no-no. The problem with that, though, is I've seen it work. So that's a problem. But that's why this Google business page, that eliminates that. Because the Google business page is a way for Google to know that you have a physical business location. Okay, you're not working out of your garage, or you have this fictitious virtual business. You have a physical location, and then within your Google business page, people can leave reviews. Okay, and that's a valuable service, so that when people are looking for a product or a service, you ever notice that you can see the little stars in the review and the search, and people can leave reviews about your business, and you want to get as many reviews as possible. But here's the downside. If someone puts in a negative review, nothing you can do about it. It's there for everyone to see. Can't get rid of it. Because Google doesn't work for you. They work for the person doing the search. So they want that person to know, look, they just got 3 negative reviews. So, what you have to do is focus on getting good reviews in Google.
I have a search question. I've noticed a few times. When I'm searching for something in Google, I'll put what I think is the exact thing I'm looking for. Let's say I'm looking for an Acme car. And it's a real company, and it's called, and we even have a website called acmecars.com, let's say. And then I'll put a search in, and Acme Cars will not be on the first page, it may be on the second page, but I'll get everything else about other people referring me to Acme Cars. But it's not the Acme
Yeah,
Car
sometimes
website.
you get like the Super Pages website, or it could even be a social media thing. It could be
But if I was asking for,
Yelp.
if I was asking for a particular thing, that particular thing doesn't come to the top of the search list.
Yeah, because what happens,
everybody.
yeah, just real quick, and it's not part of my presentation, but it's something you should do. There's something called getlisted.org. You should write it down, getlisted.org. Okay? Within getlisted.org are about 13 or 14 search directories. Yahoo is one of them, and there's a bunch of them. I mean, there's a bunch of them. There's Nokia, there's there's a list of them. Yelp. And what it is that's your profile. Okay, when you go to getlisted.org and you put your web address in there, those 13 things are going to come up, and it's going to tell you whether or not you're listed in their directory or not. It will have a little red thing or a green thing, whether you're not. If you're not, you want to get listed in those, because that's what's coming up. Now, here's the challenge. It's vitally important that for all these 13 or 14 different directory listings, you list your business exactly the same way. If you use a suite number, spell out suite number, whatever. If it's a phone number, use the same phone number. Don't use different variation of your business name. The reason why is there could be confusion on the internet. They could say that's not the same business. So you want to make sure. There's a company called Yext that will do it for you. You pay them a monthly fee, and they'll update these directories, and that's what's coming up. And they are effective to a degree. I'm kind of a purist. I just go to Google when I want something, and I'll do a Google search. But Yext is the one that monitors all those things. But you can go to getlisted.org and see which ones you were already listed in. Okay, so it's a good place to start. What? Yext? Y-E-X-T, I guess it is. Yext. Yeah, and then they provide a monthly service that they'll update those listings for you and make sure that they're current. I don't know how much they charge. Okay. All right, so here we go. We're just going to step it up a little bit. I'm a quarter of the way through. No, I'm only kidding. I can shift gears fast.
We'll have to have part 2.
All right, so here's the hashtags. Everyone, what's a hashtag? So hashtags help identify a common topic or a theme. Hashtag social media. Hashtag Dr. Phil. Hashtag Sochi Olympics. Okay? When you go to Twitter, they have a little box on the side that says trending. And those are the most popular hashtags of that second. This is the internet. Okay? They change all the time, right? So if something happened, like let's say Lindsay Lohan got into another altercation, there's probably going to be a hashtag right there, trending, Lindsay Lohan, it's going to light up the Twitter sphere, and everyone's going to be talking about it. So you can go to, like Twitter and see what's trending. But also, think about those hashtags for your business. What are they going to be? Like in my case, it's going to be maybe internet marketing, internet search engines. Those are hashtags I use, and then I'm looking at other companies that are using the same hashtag. They may be competitors of mine. They may be, informational websites like Social Media Today, which is a great resource. I have a list of a couple of good websites you should follow. So hashtags are really about categorizing that topic, and they're critical. They're critical for social networking. Very important.
Would you hashtag your company name in a lot of your posts?
You know what? You could, but I guarantee you, you're going to come up with when you click on that and look at it, you're going to see all sorts of weird stuff. I had a client. They hashtagged Freaky Friday or something because they were doing some sort of promotion or something. And I was like, okay, I clicked on the hashtag. You would not believe what I saw. I can't even share it with you guys. So if you have a unique name, but remember, who else is using it? The thing about a hashtag is you want to put it out in the mainstream, right? You want to get it out there with everyone. So you want to try to use common hashtags.
When your client base that follows you or whatever, and they retweet your hashtag, would then go to their...
Well, they retweet your Twitter handle. In other words, they would retweet your Twitter handle. That's another thing you'll see in Twitter. You'll see the Twitter handle part of it. That's the person that you retweeted from. So focus the hashtags on, the topics and the things that have to do with your business.
Now, when you're posting a tweet,
Yeah.
do you pick the hashtag? Or
Yes.
Is it automatically characterized?
What you do is you pick the hashtag, okay? So if you type a say variation, say you spell social media wrong or something, then it's not going to fall into that stream of the hashtags that are already social media. Now, when you type in hashtags in Google+, as soon as you start getting a few letters in, it will recognize it and appear, the common ones. Like the one I did, that example I showed, I think it said content marketing. When I hit hashtag and I started writing content, it popped up because it's a common hashtag. So you want to use common hashtags because that's what everyone else is using. So you want to get your stuff out there.
What if you want to build a hashtag for something unique that you want to start?
You can, but now you're going to have the firepower of marketing it and getting it known. Because how is anyone going to know what that is or even to think of to do it, right? So you can. And I've made up hashtags, and I'm going to show you this interesting website you can go to with hashtags. It's a pretty cool site. So how do you use hashtags for your business? It identifies where your post or your subject fits in. And like I said, chances are there are already hashtags being used. And I would say probably in most of the cases you're going to be existing hashtags that are already out there. So, you do a little research, find someone in your field and see what hashtags they're using. That's how I did it. I just went on to Twitter and I started playing around with hashtags. And, there's a thing there where you can search all the hashtags. So, I just went in there. Follower, I followed them. So if you see when you click on it, and you'll see all the posts that have that hashtag in it. And like I said, if it's very vague, you're going to see a whole range of things. People are using the hashtags for different purposes. They have different meanings. For example, my company name is Visionary. If I typed in hashtag Visionary, I'm just going to get the gamut, just the gamut. So, okay, so here we are. There's certain social media tools you can use to make your life easier. And what I mean by that is Hootsuite and Buffer. I don't know if any of you have ever heard of them. Buffer, you've probably seen their icon on web pages. Okay? Both of those allow you to schedule posts and send those posts out to multiple social media networks simultaneously. For example, let's say you have a Facebook page, Twitter, and LinkedIn. You can compose a post. Maybe you found an interesting article about something. You set it up in Hootsuite, and you can say, I want it to go out at 4 o'clock because I determined that 4 o'clock is the best time for my audience who's on Twitter. You set it up, and boom, it will go up to all of them. One downside to that is if your clients or your people are following you on multiple channels, they're going to see you're putting it up duplicate. But I don't consider that a problem.
Is that like using Constant Contact? That they send on regular basis?
Well, Constant Contact's an email publishing program. where you send out email blasts, and things like that, and that's an important tool too. We'll try to touch on that real quick. But those two, and what HubSpot is something called inbound marketing. And I'm going to finish up with inbound marketing because I think that's the most important thing in terms of marketing your business on the internet. So here's Hootsuite. So they offer a whole bunch of things. The most important thing about Hootsuite is you can have free, you can put like I think 5 social media accounts in your free Hootsuite account. So let's say you have a personal Facebook page, you have a business Facebook page, you have a LinkedIn page, and you have a Twitter. You can, for free, you can set them up. And what it is there'll be columns. Okay? Here's your personal Facebook, and here's all your posts. Here's your business Facebook, here's all your posts. Here's your LinkedIn, and here's your Twitter. And it's free. So sign up, get it, and use it. You can put this stuff out on all these different social media channels at once. It's enormously helpful. Buffer is kind of cool because let's say you're surfing the internet and you're reading an article, and you say this is interesting and this is something I would like to share. In most cases now, on the web page themselves, they'll have a little buffer button. Like you ever see sometimes you'll share it on LinkedIn, share it on Twitter. Like they have the little social sharing buttons on an article. Now there's the buffer one. So you click on that, and then it will go into your buffer account, and you can set it up once again to say, I want it to go into my Twitter, I want it to go into my Facebook, and I want it to go into my LinkedIn, and I want it to happen at 8 o'clock in the morning. And once again, that's a free account, but they do limit the number of things you can do. But that's really cool about Buffer because it doesn't always have to be your content. It can be someone else's content that you could put out there. So Buffer's a really cool thing. It's free. Set it up. All right, so HubSpot is a little bit different than those two. HubSpot is an inbound marketing software. And I'm going to talk about inbound marketing in a couple minutes. But basically what it does is it's a total solution where you can go in and put in all your keywords that have to do with your business. You can set up marketing campaigns, and you can set up email blasts to go out at certain times and things like that. HubSpot's expensive. It's not a cheap thing. It easily costs you, at the very basic level, a few $100s a month. At the very basic level, depending on the number of people you want to reach. All right, so Google. So we talked about the Google search engine. We'll just go over it a little bit here. It's to serve the right content to the right person at the right time. Okay? That's Google's job. That's their mission. That's what they do. So high ranking, it's like a vote of confidence. So if you have a link on your website, inbound links coming from other websites to you, very important. They have to be relevant links. So if you own an insurance company and your brother owns a pizza place, having him link to you is not going to help you. But if you own an insurance company and you belong to the Insurance Association of New York, and on their website they have their members listed, make sure your website link is listed back to you. That's a relevant link. And every time Google sees one of those links, that's a vote of confidence. They say that's a good site. Because someone thought enough of it to link to it. So that's a good thing, and it's just another way for Google to find you, right? It's a link on someone else's site. So you got to work your associates. You belong to a chamber of commerce, business associations, different vertical markets. If you can get your link up there to your site, very important. Very important. Okay. So search engines focus on 2 factors. They focus on-page content. Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I just want to know what you were talking about the links.
Yeah.
Are you referring to backlinks?
Well, we call them inbound links.
Is that a backlink?
Yeah, it's a link from someone else's site to you. Okay?
On that same topic, is the size of the site that you're linked from important as far as search goes? In other words, if your link is on a huge site, does that actually affect your?
It could, because Google could say the site that your link is on. They could say that's a very relevant, important site that has a lot of useful information, and the fact that they're linking to you could help you more than if it was a smaller site. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. So you have 2 types of content, right? You have what's called on-page content. That's the content on your website or your blog. Right? It's the copy, the images, whatever it is, video. That's what's on your website above. Then you have what's called off-page content, and that's your social media and your links, right? I'm calling them inbound links. That's not on your site. That's away from you, right? That's what we call it off-page. So that social media, because you're putting information up there that's useful and it's informative, that builds trust and authority. Okay, Google says you're the man. When it comes to, liability insurance, you're the man because you provide so much resource information. Social media, you're sharing information through your social media, which we call off-page, and you have links coming into your site from other trusted websites. So that's a home run. So that's two ways. Google is the search engines. I'll just call them search engines, not just Google. That's kind of how they're finding you, right? So there's other things too that if you, yeah, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Would you say that it's also how Google looks at things relative to the type of schools? They have an unspoken ranking, I think.
Well, what do you mean, the type of?
Whether you're a profession, original content, versus some other fly-by-night.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, if they're doing the same type of business, let's say they're competitors and they do the same thing, and one guy is lifting copy from other websites and things like that, and the other guy has got original content that periodically he updates that content, he's going to be the one that's going to show up on the search.
Relevant to industries themselves.
Well, I mean, you got to remember, people are doing a specific search, so they're looking for something specific. Liability insurance. So, what's going to come up in a Google search when you do a search or any search engine is you have a component called paid search, right? Has anyone done any paid, like Google AdWords and things? That's called SEM, search engine marketing. You have your paid ads that run down the right side and across the top, and then you have 10 listings on the Google Play page. So people trust what I call the organic or the natural search result more, right? When you're doing a search, it's those 10 what we call natural search ones because they're unbiased. The other ones are paid. So you ever do a search for someone and then you'll see a paid ad saying there's a book about that person on Amazon. It's like, well, that's not what I'm looking for. So people tend to trust the natural organic search results over paid. But you got to remember too is that they're looking for something very specific. And that page is really probably just going to generate, if I'm looking for a liability insurance agent in Suffolk County, I'm going to get a pretty defined audience.
How deep does the average person go in search?
Excellent question. Excellent question. 60% of the people do not go past page 1. If they don't see what they're looking for, they'll do another search. 60. Right. So, that's why it's important. But people now are becoming more savvy where, like I said, they're not just putting in a very generic thing. Swimming pools. You're going to get, you're just going to get a host of things that are not what you're looking for. Now, if it's swimming pools Suffolk County, swimming pools Eastern Long Island, in-ground pools, Melville, people tend to refine their searches. People are becoming much more savvy when it comes to a search now. So they know when they put it in. I don't know if you put quotation marks around your search, that's an exact keyword match. Okay, so let's say you have 3 words, you're searching for 3 words, and you're looking for those exact 3 words. You put quotation marks around those 3 words, then it will only turn results back that match exactly those 3 words. Okay, so some people don't know that, but it's a useful thing for searching. Sure. Yep.
Do you find press releases like PR web cost effective, and if so, how often do you recommend doing it to bring up your search engine optimization?
That's a good question. There are a few. I use one called PR Newswire. There are these sites out there. Some are free, and some you pay. And what it is if you have like a press release that you want to distribute among different media outlets or different websites, you can have them send it out for you. And what that does is, once again, it gets that content out there in case of like PR Newswire, I used it for a client. I think we got it out to like 500 or 600 different media websites all in one blast. And we had to pay. You know, it wasn't cheap. But there are some free ones. But it's a good thing if you can send out those press releases through a Newswire service. Of course, you always want to make sure you have your link to your website in there, and you know, make sure that it's really you're not abusing it either. You know, if people are using the free ones and they're constantly sending stuff out, I don't think it's going to help you as much. But then the other part of it too is you want to make sure you get that press release up on your website as well. And you know, I think one of the biggest challenges you're all going to have is coming up with content. Like when I build websites, building the website's the easy part. Getting the copy from the client is impossible. I'll take it off my old website. Well, it says, you know, it says you have 3 horse-drawn carriages. You know? I mean, we need to update this a little bit. You know, it's like, you know, please, you know, your phone number says Murrayville 5. You know, I mean, come on. You know, yes. Yeah.
A long time ago, I learned about search engines, and I found it helpful, which is not working anymore. When you're looking for something, and next to the keyword, you put a plus, or if you don't want this word to show up, you put a minus.
Right. Exclude, include. Right.
And now I keep putting in keywords to find something, and I don't want it to be about that. And
Yeah.
they still give me
What is? Are you using Google?
anything.
Well, Google changed, like I told you, they changed their algorithms because what they're now encouraging people to do is ask a question, specific. Like, for example, I'll give you an example. It was interesting. You know, New York Knicks, New York Knicks schedule. Okay, like I wanted to see the schedule to buy tickets for a game, so I put schedule to New York Knicks game. And when I typed that into Google, guess what happened? On the Google search page itself, it showed me the schedule. I didn't have to even go to the website anymore. It was right there on the Google search. And that's what you're seeing more and more now, too, is like Google is now providing the information right on the page. Like even if you wanted to know the hours of a certain business, if they have a Google business account, it's going to show up right in the Google search. You don't even have to go to the website anymore. So they've changed their algorithms to encourage you to ask a specific question as opposed to putting together like a string of keywords, you know. So, you know, it's like, you know, like for example, you know, if I was looking for information to do this PowerPoint, I might say, you know, what are the benefits of, you know, blogging? And that's what I would type into the search bar, and then I would get search results from the most authoritative websites.
Are there tools that you could use to evaluate your website for content, and then change it and see if that evaluation improves?
Yeah. HubSpot has a free evaluating tool. I don't know if it's right on the homepage, but if you go to HubSpot.com, they have a tool where you type in your URL, your web address, and it will evaluate your site, and it's going to evaluate a bunch of things. You know, you have links, you have social media. It's going to give you a grade. Okay, and it will, yeah, you know, it'll give you a grade based on keywords.
Talk a little about Google Analytics and how the website should be.
Yeah. Okay. Well, it's, again, Google Analytics is part of the world here of Google, and everything we do and everything we talk about here today, we should measure. All right. That's the advantage of doing things on the internet, is that we can measure and know if things are working or they're not working. Okay. So Google Analytics, which is free, and if you have a Gmail password, you can set up Google Analytics. What it is it analyzes the traffic to your website. And it will tell you some very interesting things. It will tell you, first and foremost, how many visitors came to your site. Has anyone heard the expression hits? I got 1,000, 1 million hits to my website. Hits is a very misleading term. And when someone says they got so many hits, or they have a hit counter down at the bottom, which is so 1998, you know, a hit is the number of times the website sent a request to the server that's hosting the site for information. Like, I need a picture. You know, send me the picture of that. Send me the copy. So when a page loads, you could have 12 hits on one page at one time, because it's just server requests. Okay, that's how they measured it back then. But now with Google Analytics, we know the number of visitors that come to your site. not only do we know the number of visitors, but we can know the number of unique visitors at a given period of time. Let's say I want to look at the last month. And it'll say, I've had 500 visitors, and 400 of them were unique, meaning they were not repeat. Right? They came once, they were not repeat visitors. So we can know the number of unique visitors. We know how many pages did they go into my site. They spent, they went into 3 pages of my site on average. How much time did they spend on my site? Okay, it can tell you that. And then it will also tell you what's called the bounce rate. And bounce rate is the percentage of people that visit one page of your website and leave. It's important to know. Maybe people are coming to my site and they're so turned off at what I'm showing them they're leaving. Or maybe my site's so informative that they're finding the answer they need right there on the home page and they don't need to go further. But it's important to know these things. And what you can do with Google Analytics also is you can know how many people are accessing your site from a smartphone. More specifically, an iPhone or a Samsung or an iPad. Because one thing you need to understand, right now in 2014, half of the people surfing the internet are doing it on a mobile device. Half. Whether it's a tablet or a smartphone. So you have to ask yourself, how does my website look on a smartphone? And if the answer is not too good, you better take my business card. No, you have to think about that mobile strategy because more and more people are accessing your information from a mobile site. That's fact of life. It's the way it is. So you have to really take that into account. Very important.
Earlier you had said something, search, Eastern Long Island. Now, let's say I'm looking for a web marketing firm on Eastern Long Island. Does your site or your social media have to say Eastern Long Island, or is West Hampton search engines going to find everybody in the geographic area?
Yeah, I mean, it will probably find things in geographic regions, but every social media network has an opportunity for you to put a profile in, right? Pinterest even lets you do that.
So in your profile, would you ever put West Hampton?
No. I would just put the address. I put like West Hampton, Long Island, New York.
But if someone's searching Eastern Long Island, would you come up if you don't have?
Well, your social channels probably might not come up, but your website, if you optimize it correctly in your content, because what you might want to say is that we specialize in serving Eastern Long Island.
So you need those terms somewhere for you.
Well, and especially that, because that doesn't really. That's a little tricky geographically. That's not like Suffolk County. Eastern Long Island is not like if you typed in Eastern Long Island, on a map,
Well, so
it's not an address.
That people might search. You need to get it somewhere on your.
Well, once again, every page of your website, your blog, post to your social media should focus on a keyword strategy. Okay, so. Serving Eastern, providing liability insurance for Eastern Long Islanders for 45 years. Liability insurance, Eastern Long Island.
I have that across all the platforms.
We're talking a lot about traffic and social media marketing. Most of these folks, I assume, have businesses and probably have email lists, and we didn't talk anything about email marketing.
Yeah, I'll get to that. Yep.
Call to action.
I'm going to get to that. That's all part of inbound marketing. So I've just. I'm going to get to that. Let me just see where we're at here with this.
Well, he's looking for where he is.
Okay.
We are having an email marketing workshop. This woman right here, Janet Attard, is going to be giving it. Do you remember May 8th? May 8th. Okay, I haven't put the flyer together yet, but check the website or call and we'll let you know about that.
Excellent. All right, so the content. On your website, you can have two different types of content. You can have what's called branded content and non-branded content. Branded content is specific to your business, your about page, history, bio, okay? Then you have non-branded, which is specific to your industry. That might be your services or your products. So you have two types of content on your site. The bulk of the content on your site should be non-branded content, something about your industry and your field. But I will say, when I look at Google Analytics and I look at what are the most popular pages, because that's another thing Google Analytics will tell us, is what are the most popular and least popular pages of a website, I always find the About page to be one of the top pages. And to me, it didn't make sense. I would always think people would just go right to services or products, but people want to know who they're dealing with. So you can't argue with that. I did a website for a hospital. And we put in Google Analytics, and we wanted to see what the most popular things were going to be. And to my surprise, it wasn't even the home page. 99 times out of 100, the home page is the most the most popular page, because that's where people come into the site. We had set up a job opportunity center where people could go and apply for jobs at the hospital. They completely bypassed everything and went right to that, and that was the #1 page on the site. So guess what? We ramped that up. We built that section up. They no longer had to advertise a Newsday for RNs and PAs and everything else. So you use that data to adjust your website. No one's going on this page. It's the top exit page. You can find out what page people are leaving your site. Why are they doing this? Is it confusing? Is it something people aren't interested? So you use these analytics to help make adjustments to your website. Because the always thing with my clients, we launch the website and they're like, that's that, we're done. I'm like, no, wait, we're just beginning, bud. No, this is just beginning. This is a living thing. We got to keep this thing moving. We got to keep putting content into it, and I use the analogy like a house. A website is like a house. First you get an architect to plan it, right? Because you don't want the kitchen when you walk into the house. You don't want to walk into a kitchen. And you want to make sure that there's a flow to the rooms, that the rooms make sense, and you can easily go from one room to another. And then the outside of the house, the landscaping is your search engine. And if you don't take care of the landscaping, you don't keep doing your search engine stuff, it withers and dies ultimately. So it's kind of a good analogy with that. Let's see where we're at. All right. So when you're doing these things with your social media, okay, it's even email, but with your marketing, you want to have SMART goals. You have to have goals. You need to understand what you're going to do so you know whether or not it's working. And SMART goals are specific, measurable, attainable, realistic goals within a certain time period. Okay? You don't want to just say, I want 1 million Facebook, people. That's, first of all, it's not realistic. Okay? At what period of time? In 100 years? Or you can do that 6 months. So you want to come up with your goals for certain things. It's very important that you have what we call SMART goals. And you want to have goals. If it's your Facebook, you may want to say, look, I want to increase my Facebook likes by 20% in the next 3 months. Well, how are you going to do that? You need to know how you're going to do that. Is that really realistic? And and obviously it's measurable. You'll know. You'll know it. So SMART goals are very, very important. You just don't want to say, I want 1 million people. So here's like an example of a SMART goal. Okay, that I will acquire 3 new clients from my consulting business within 2 months by asking for referrals, launching a social media marketing campaign, and networking with local businesses. This will allow me to grow my business and increase my revenue. So it's got that in there. 3 new clients within 2 months. Okay, no messing around. You know exactly what it. So you have to have goals, because otherwise, how do you know if something's working or not? So it's very important. So we talked about how do you know if social media is working? What's the return? Well, obviously, you want to engage users. The whole purpose of social media is to engage the person coming to your Facebook page or whatever. Okay, it's not just you talking at them. You want to somehow get a response out of them. Maybe it's a call to action. Maybe you want them to do something. Maybe it's an event or something like that. So you want to engage your users. So you obviously you want to know how many likes you're getting, how many shares you're getting, right? Has this post been shared, and things like that. A lot of times you have a form on your website. It could be a contact form or something like that. Are people filling out the form and submitting it? No one submitted my form. Well, that's a problem. We got to figure out what it is. And how many people clicked on a link that's maybe on your Facebook to your website? Because within Google Analytics, we can track what's called these inbound links and find out, wow, every month I'm getting 10 people from my Facebook page clicking on the link coming to my website. That's good. Facebook is not bad. Or there was a maybe you have a listing on another Chamber of Commerce website, and once again they click on that link to come to your website. Google Analytics knows that. It tells you this is what they call a referring URL. It came from another website to you, and we can track that. So we can know where some of this traffic's coming from. Traffic comes to you in really only a couple ways. Direct, they type in your web address, right? They know your web address, they type it, they go to your website. A search, right? You search for your business, there it is, they click on the link and they go. Okay, and the other way is referral. Okay, it's on maybe another website, a post somewhere. and they see that and they come to you. Those are really the 3 ways they're going to come to your website. And Google Analytics will give you a nice pie chart showing you what the breakdown is. 60% of the people coming to your site are from a search. Okay? Is that good or bad? I don't know. It could be if you advertise a lot and you market your web address, then people may type your web address in directly. But, you'll know. The great thing about Google Analytics is it gives you a lot of information. And then you look at that information over time. So you can say, you know what? I got 200 unique visitors a month coming to my website. So one of my SMART goals might be is I want to increase my unique visitor count in the next 3 months by 25%. And I'm going to do this by, trying to maybe get some links on the Chamber site. I'm going to blog, twice a month. I'm going to put the links on the Facebook, and then you can kind of monitor your traffic. And it gives you this little chart. And it shows you your daily traffic. And it will also tell you what's the most popular time of the day, or what's the most popular day of the week. People are going to your site. So it's got a lot of information, and the price is right. It's free.
Just a question for you.
Yeah.
Because, obviously Google Analytics knows that you and your business is accessing their site a lot more than the average person for free. So, is that something that's going to become like, they're going to charge at some point? Because it is information.
Well, they do offer some things where you could pay, but Google is really free, and they make their money in advertising. Google's the #1 media company in the world. Okay, in terms of ads, Google they make their money in advertising. There's another tool called Webmaster Tools that Google uses. That's a little bit more involved for people who kind of need to get into the back end of stuff. But they have a thing called Webmaster Tools as well. And they offer these things for free because they're selling ads and and things like that. So that's where they make their money. They make their money in advertising. They're an advertising company. So
Just going back probably about 10 minutes ago, you mentioned about putting quotes. Should you put quotes in your SEOs or direct?
no. You're talking about like content on your page?
When you're setting up your SEO on your website.
Yeah, no, you don't want to put quotes. Just natural. Just write it naturally. And those quotes things might not even work as much now anymore. That was back when it was keywords. Back then when you'd have like 3 keywords, insurance, Stony Brook, car, and then you would put quotes around it. And I only want that. But now because of this thing they call the semantic search, where people are more asking questions, the quotes are becoming less important. So no, I would not. I absolutely would not put quotes around it.
To follow that up,
Yeah.
so your keywords, with each word you follow with the comma, or your keyword phrase that follow with the comma?
Well, it depends on what you're talking about. If you're talking about the code within the back end of the site, you do separate it with a comma. But if you're talking about copy on a page, you don't want to just randomly string keywords at all. You do not want to do that. You want to have well-constructed sentences that speak to what you do and why people should come to you. Okay? You shouldn't, in other words, what Google has done is now they've taken the guesswork out of search engine optimization. You don't need, you just need to know how to write a sentence and write a paragraph and write a story. That's what they want to see. There's no more of this trickery anymore. It's like, well, I'm going to put in a bunch of keywords. Just write naturally, but be mindful of what you're writing about. Right? Remember, each page is a keyword strategy. So if you're talking about something specific, business liability insurance, well, that page should speak about business liability insurance. Don't go off mark and talk about 9 other different types of insurance you carry. There's 9 other pages for that. The great thing about the internet is real estate's cheap. So you put more pages, okay? And then your blog post, you write about specific things, okay? Very important. So your content on your site should just be well-written copy that speaks to what you do and why you're an authority in what you do.
So then where do the hashtags fit in?
Well, hashtags on your website are not going to, they're really more for social media. You would use them more for social media, hashtags.
So Twitter would be the hashtag?
Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest. Yeah, that's where you'll really get the maximum use of hashtags. And just go on and do it. But go to Pinterest, and there's a little search thing up at the top thing, and then do hashtag and search it. And you'll see what's coming up, and and things like that. Twitter, same thing. It's you know, you'll immediately see the importance of it.
Henry, we have some questions from the people online.
Oh, okay.
Should I read them now to
Yeah,
you?
sure.
Okay. Question 1, how do I broadcast information on Facebook and maximize its potential without paid advertising?
Yeah. Well, you know, Facebook, you're only as good as the in other words, not paying at all. I gather. You know, with Facebook, you're only as good as your followers. You know, that you have to build up your followers, and it doesn't have to be a big list, but it's got to be the right list of people. So, you know, if you're just adding people on and friending all these people, and they're not really who you want to talk to, you're really wasting your efforts. You're better off having a smaller group of people, but they're the people you really want to communicate with. So, you know, without the paid thing, you know, it becomes kind of tricky. You know, it really does. And if you don't have the right group of followers, then it really becomes difficult. Sometimes you have to pay.
Question 2, how do you improve backlinks, both quantity and quality?
Yeah, well, once again, those links have to be relevant. So when you talk about quality, you're talking about relevancy. So that's extremely important, that you have relevant links. And you know, there used to be a couple of years ago, you know, they called it reciprocal linking. Hey, I'll link to you, you link to me. You know, we'll link to each other, and you know, we'll have a happy world. But that's not what Google wants. Google wants relevant links. So what you have to do is you have to go down your list of associates, contacts, if it's clients, associations you belong to, and look at this and look and see if there's opportunities to do that. For example, let's say you're a real estate lawyer. Okay, you may want to put a link there to a title insurance company, okay, that you do work with. Okay, you know, you may have a resource section where you say, look, here are some people that we recommend, and well, let's link to them. So you have to go out and look at your list of contacts and people, and then, of course, you can't just put it up on your own. It's their website. You know, if it was just all in your power, we would put links on everyone's website back to us. But you need their help. I mean, it's their website, so you got to get them to put the link on the site. But the first thing you can do is put a section of your own website and devote it to links to people you recommend, okay, depending on the type of business. So, for example, I'm in marketing and communications. So, you know, I could have a link to a photographer, a commercial printer, and say, you know, these are guys I recommend. They're good guys. You know, and I could put links like that as well.
One more online question, then we'll get to this gentleman. Oh, you want to answer him first?
Go ahead.
To cut to a little lower level on what you just said, I found working with my clients that they have paid membership to organizations, and they never provided the organization with their full link information. So on a real basic level, if you belong to a chamber, make sure they have your website address.
You know what? I go into clients all the time, and okay. The question was that a lot of people belong to associations and organizations, and they never follow through with them to make sure that their information is published on those sites with links back. And what I was saying is that, you know, a lot of my clients, when I talk to them, and you know, I get to understand what associations they belong to, you know, maybe their certifications, different things they do, and I'll ask them, and they're like, well, no, I never thought of that. And that's why you have to kind of come up with the list. It's all on you. In other words, it's all on you. You have to kind of come up with the list of who are these people I can approach. And like I have a retailer, and he sells certain items. Well, I go on the manufacturer's website, and I see they have a retail locator. You're not on there. What are you doing? You know, I search for Long Island, New York. You're not coming up. And it's like, oh, I didn't know they had that. Well, you got to do your homework. You know what I mean? And so I think once you're aware of it and you know what to look for it, then you'll be more apt to try to find those opportunities. But you should always look. You know, if you belong to a Chamber of Commerce, make sure you're listed on that Chamber of Commerce. Make sure your website is in there. Make sure the information in your business listing is completely consistent. Remember I talked about getlisted.org. Here's my business name. Here's my address. Do I have a suite number? What's the main business phone line? Use the same one on every one of these things. Don't use different, like I have 7 different phone lines. You know, sometimes I'll use my direct line, sometimes I'll use the main line. But when it comes to things like that on the internet, exactly consistent every time, because then Google or these other search engines will begin to recognize you as a business because of that.
One more online question. I have tried to sign up with directories, and I'm finding it very difficult without paying. Is there a better path?
Yeah, that's the getlisted.org. That's the getlisted.org where there's 13 or 14 directories, and it is a bear. What happens is you go in, you say, okay, I didn't claim my listing, because it will say you need to claim your listing. And you go in and you put your information, and then you got to set up password accounts for each one of these things, and then they have to verify you. So they may call you. You may have to put in a phone number and call you to verify that you actually exist, or sometimes they'll send you a postcard. A postcard? What? Google was mailing out postcards.
Yeah.
Make sure you look out for your postcard. And then I go to my office manager. I was looking for that. There was something from Google the other day. I threw it away. Like, oh my God, that was my access code.
Oh.
We have 45 people in our company looking for the postcard every day.
Yes. Well, the good news is you can do it with a phone, and they'll call you immediately. But the GetList, it is enormously frustrating because you submit it, and then you think it worked, and then you go back and it didn't. So that's why Yext is a paid one. They cornered the market. They said, look, we know this is a pain in the neck. We're going to do it. So unfortunately, the unpaid way is to keep going on to getlisted.org and just keep plowing through it. Keep plowing through it, and just, you just have to have endurance to get through it.
Is there any way to get rid of businesses that you know are closed? That are like when you go on Get Listed, or sometimes there was another business similar to ours in Nassau County. They're closed. Yeah. But they still come up. Is there any way to get
Well, that's an interesting thing. The short answer is no, because somehow the search engines are finding something, whether it's an old website that maybe was never taken down, which is probably the case. I had a client that got sued, and then, whatever it was, and it was, he won the case or whatever, but it was one of these things. He said, he called me and said, I did a Google search and I found that lawsuit on there. You got to get rid of it. It's like, I can't get rid of it. So the only thing you can do in terms of if you have negative, for any reason there's any sort of negative things going on with you, you can't really get rid of it.
That wasn't the question. The question was, if you know a company is out of business, and
you can report them. Well, Google you can report them to.
Okay.
Yeah, you can notify Google and say that they're closed. But if they still have a website up, nothing you can do about it. You got to, someone's got to turn that website off. And if they're out of business, eventually the hosting will expire and it will disappear on its own.
How do you combat that negative? Back in the day,
The easiest way to combat negative advertising is to have a lot of positive. That's the only way, really, because there's complete transparency on the internet, right? Like you have Yelp. People write reviews all the time. Andy's List. There's all these things now where you have these people who will write reviews, right? So there's nothing you can do about that. It's complete transparency, and in this day and age, people like to share their experiences. People really open up on the web and they share things, So if you have a negative thing, if it's erroneous, like with Google, you can challenge it. But good luck.
But also, if you have if you've had a bad review for a hotel or some experience that they've had with your company, I think the best thing to do is to respond to that bad review. Say,
Exactly.
we've adjusted these. We recognize that you had issues. We solved these problems, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. You face it head on.
Can you overwhelm them by getting enough?
Well, that's the goal. The goal is
you.
You just have to think about the person doing the search, right? And they're going to use common sense. And they say, all right, I'm investigating this company to do a dormer on my house, construction company. And I never use this guy. He's a rip-off artist or whatever. And then there's 8 other reviews saying, Joe was great. He was this. He was that. You're always going to have a malcontent. Someone's going to go and always do that, But you look at all the reviews, and then you get an overall rating with stars. And you're looking for someone that gets 4 to 5 stars of a rating. And then you make a decision. Someone's always going to have a bad review. You can't make everyone happy. It's impossible. But in this day and age, they can put it all over the internet. Now, I'll give you an example. I won't mention the car dealer, but I went to a car dealer, and I bought a used car. And I noticed there was a chip on the windshield. So I said, that chip. He goes, well, we can fill that in with epoxy. I said, I have a client that does windshields. And he said, once it starts to crack, you can't fill it. He goes, no, we can fill it. I said, look, you can't fill it. I want a new windshield. I'm not going to buy the car. We can fill it. He fills it. A week later, it's cracked. I bring the car back. He says, nothing I can do about it. I said, okay. Okay. First of all, I'll never buy another car from you again. And second of all, I'm putting that up on every social media channel I have. They put a new windshield. You know, so the long and the short of it is you overwhelm them with positive reviews.
How does the issue of internet neutrality or lack of neutrality impact all of this?
Well, is there really such thing as internet neutrality? I don't, I mean, all I can say is that there is transparency, and people can share all their experiences, and it can't be filtered. And you're going to get the honest, unbiased, take, and that's what helps people make decisions. And that we're going to get into inbound marketing. What time are we wrapping up here?
Well, did we say 11 or 11:30 on the flyer?
11.
11. That's what I
Oh, okay. All right. We'll step it up here a little bit. All right. So I'm not going to really go too much into social authority. That's when when you're social media networks, you're putting useful information out there. Okay, and you become an authority, and Google will recognize you as an authority. Okay. I want to get to the inbound marketing, but there's another thing called clout, and clout measures your influence on the internet. So if you're getting people sharing your posts and retweeting your tweets and doing things like that, clout, you sign up for clout, they'll score you on how influential you are and how much your information is shared and retweeted and things like that. And they'll give you a grade, okay? And that grade is staring you right there in the face when you go to the website or the app. So if you got like a 30 or something out of 100, it's a little crazy. All right, let's talk about content curation real quick. Where do you come up with the ideas to put stuff in a blog or a Facebook post or a tweet or on your website? Content curation. That's the alternative to writing it. Coming up with original copy yourself. Is you go out there and you find copy, and then what you do with that copy is you put your own spin on it and your own expertise, and you might comment on something. So what you want to do is you want to find relevant content that has to do with your business, and then what we want to do is we're going to share that with other people and our followers. Oh, do you want to take a picture of that? Okay. Once again, this is up on SlideShare. So you'll use what's called content aggregators. Like, does anyone use Google? What is it? Google Alerts. Does anyone use Google Alerts? You can put a keyword in Google Alerts, and every time that's used out on the internet, you'll get an email saying this website just mentioned. Like, you put your name in there or your business or whatever. And you have Google Alerts. So let's say you want to get alerts on specific things. Google will send you an email and say, this website just mentioned what you were looking for. So you have these aggregators like Scoop.it. Does anyone know what Scoop.it is? Scoop.it is awesome. I'm going to show you Scoop.it. And Tagboard. These pull in information based on your topics that you're interested in from all over the internet and says, look, here's 20 things about what you're interested in. Read them. Comment on them. So it's Scoop.it, you read it, you comment on it, and you put your own comment, and that's a very powerful way to get seen. So it's about showing thought leadership, okay? So, the whole purpose of content curation is that you can come up with a continuous ideas and everything for your content. And let's go to Scoop.it. All right, well, first Tagboard. So this is Tagboard. This is where the hashtags. But if you want to go and research hashtags and find out all the different social media that are using the hashtags, and you can review them and read them, Tagboard does it for like Facebook, Vine, Instagram, Twitter, Google+. So in this case, I have a hashtag called landing pages. I type that in, and then this page goes on for like forever. So it shows me all the tweets in the last couple of minutes that we're using that hashtag landing pages. It will show me all the Google Plus posts that use that word landing pages. It will show me all the Vine or Instagram that use that hashtag. So if, let's say I'm just researching that hashtag to get some ideas to write a blog post or something. I put it in here in Tagboard, and it will give me all these things, and then I can click on the link. Like you can see, there's a couple of hashtags here, landing pages, and then here's a web address I can click on and go to that website and read more about that particular subject matter. So Tagboard is a really, really useful tool.
Hashtags go across more than just Twitter.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Were you in my head just now?
No.
Facebook.
I always thought it was just.
No, Pinterest, all the social media. Instagram, use hashtags. Hashtags are like, they're all over the place.
It's almost like putting in, it's almost like Googling something.
Yeah, that's right.
Also, it's like a side plot, so even if the media thing isn't connected to it, like, my generation will like to just be like, hashtag isn't that dumb. Like, it's just like a
Right,
side
right.
thing of what you just said.
Now, of course, if you click on that hashtag isn't that dumb, you're going to see pictures of my son doing stupid things. Okay, so it's not always what you think it's going to be.
Yeah.
I found a video on YouTube, by the way. Okay, I just finished my basement, and I found a video of my son riding his BMX bike down the stairs. My other son was videotaping him. And he ran it down the stairs, my newly carpet thing, and then spun the bike right by my brand new TV, and they put it up on YouTube.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. Nice. All right, so Scoop It. Sign up for Scoop It. Okay, so Scoop It, what it does, once again, it's an aggregator where I put in some keywords that I want them to look up. In this case, it was for search engine. And it gives me all these stories that are involved in my topics that I'm looking for. And then what I can do is I click this little Scoop It button here, and I can share that on my social media. I can share that on my Facebook. I can share that on Twitter. I can comment on that article, make a comment, and once again, that's all about authority and thought leadership. So Scoop It, every day I get an email. Every morning I come in from Scoop It. There's an email saying, here are your topics for the day that were out on the internet. And I can look at them and say, this is interesting. I want to share this on my Google Plus page. So it's a great source of content that you can get out there and put out there. But the key is, you want to comment on it, put your own little expertise and spin on it.
I was just going to say that's so much easier than what I've been doing. I've been going and search engine to look up a topic, and then you get all these things. You got to click on it so you can read that.
Yeah. This is,
It's all one
yeah,
spot.
specific things. Like this case, it was, I think, search engine marketing or whatever it was, I have a few of them. So then if I wanted to put another one in, I hit the new scoop, right? I can put a new scoop in there, put a different subject matter in. And, it's just a great source of information. Two things. One, you educate yourself. A lot of times I'm reading these things and I'm learning. And then it's like, wow, I want to share this.
So when you push that green button, it'll say share or put onto your website?
Yeah, it'll give you the options of where you want to. Now the key here is you're going to log into like Scoop It, and a lot of these accounts now you log in with your social media accounts. Like for me, in Scoop It, I log in with my Twitter account because I want to link. Scoop It is linked to my social media accounts, and that's what they're going to want you to do when you set up your account. It's going to say link to your Facebook, link to your Google Plus, link to. So when I do Scoop It, it just goes. It's already linked.
Can you link it to your business Facebook page, or is it kind of your personal page?
I didn't link my business one up, but I don't see why you couldn't.
I'm having some difficulty, like,
Yeah.
my business page being able to like share other things that I like. It doesn't seem-
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. I don't know what the problem could be.
You don't know the answer to that?
Is there a point where you're sending all this stuff out where, general rule where you're overwhelming your followers?
Well, look, hey, look, let's go back.
Leading you instead of
Let's go back to the cocktail party. If I don't shut up and I just keep putting this stuff out there, sooner or later you're going to get fed up with me. So you got to be careful, even with tweeting. If you just keep putting stuff out and out and out and you start annoying people, they're going to turn you off. So you have to find the right balance, and you don't want to overwhelm people with the stuff.
Is there any advantage that some of these sites ask you to sign in to Facebook or Twitter?
Yeah, you want to do that because it will link your accounts together. Like even Pinterest. Pinterest, I sign in through my Twitter account, and guess what? When I pin something to Pinterest, I can tweet that right out of Pinterest. I can tweet that. So you should link your accounts together, definitely.
So pictures do go on to Twitter.
Yeah, you can put a picture on Twitter. Yep. All right, so I'm going to go real quick through infographics. Anyone know what an infographic is? So we're talking about content. Content is only words. Content is visual, and we're becoming increasingly visual. People read less and less. They scan. They only retain about 20% of what they read, and they're only reading about 30% of what's there. So you got to find different ways. YouTube, Vine, infographics. Okay, so what is an infographic? We're going to be quick here. I know we're out of time. Infographic is a image that you use to convey information or data. It could be something complex, but you use an image to convey it. And I broke up an infographic on here to show this. This is part of an infographic. Okay, 90% of information transmitted to your brain is visual. So I took an infographic and I just broke it up onto slides. 40% of people respond better to images than plain text. Okay, they see it, they can absorb it quickly. Okay, images are processed 60,000 times faster than text. Okay, huge. Okay.
Basically saying the image is what?
A picture's what the-
That is absolutely true. That's right. See, here it is. 28% of the words are read in documents. 20% of the text read is retained. Remember. Okay, huge. Okay, so I'll just kind of go through that a little bit. All right, so here let's just talk real quick about outbound and inbound marketing, and then we'll wrap it up. Outbound marketing is traditional marketing. You advertise newspaper, radio. It's that traditional way, direct mail, where you say, okay, here's the audience. I'm going to put my message out there, and I'm going to wait for the phone to ring. Not very proactive, right? You cast this wide net, and you're hoping people will get back to you. That's outbound marketing or traditional marketing. What's in now is what's called inbound marketing. And what inbound marketing says is that when you're looking for a product or service, what's the first thing you do once you decide you want to look for something? What's the first thing you do now? You go to the internet. You do a search. I'm looking to buy a car. I'm looking to buy a washer. You don't wait. You know what? So the paper's coming out Sunday. You know, PC Richards will have a circular. You know, I'll wait the 5 days until the paper comes out. No. You're proactive. You go. You do a search. So inbound marketing says that's how people are behaving. They're proactive. They're in control, and they're looking for information, and they have a lot of information they can compare. So why should they use you, right? So inbound marketing, this just talks about the decline of outbound marketing. Is that just people want to be in control. They want to decide where they're going to get their information and things like that. So advertising, traditional advertising doesn't work anymore, right? People have spam blockers. Direct mail isn't opened anymore. TV now. You have Netflix. There's no commercials. People are avoiding being advertised to. So you have to find a different way to get out to people, and that's inbound marketing. I'm going to kind of breeze through this, but there's a lot of information. So the difference between inbound marketing and outbound is inbound marketing is a new marketing that relies on earning people's trusts instead of buying it, right? We're trying to earn trust. And how do we do that? We do that because we're positioning ourselves as experts and we're educating them. And if we educate them and they feel confident with us, they're going to trust us. So the communication is two-way, whereas traditional advertising, it's one-way, right? I put an ad in the paper, you read it, and that's it. Okay? Inbound marketing, the customers come to you. What do? They come to your website. So the customers come to you. They come via a search engine, a social media, or a referral. And what you need to do is when that person comes to your website, who is a visitor, you need to convert them into a lead. Because they may not be ready to buy at that moment. So what you need to do is nurture that lead until they get to the point where they're ready to buy from you. My case, the sales cycle in doing a website, it could be 6 months from the time someone reaches out to me to the time they're ready to commit. So that's a long sales cycle. So I need to be in their face throughout that whole process. It's like dating, okay? That first time I walk into a client, I'm not going to ask him to marry me, right? I'm going to get to understand him, get to know him better, get to understand what he wants to do. It's a nurturing process because people, you put an ad in the paper tomorrow for, you're having a special on a washer and a dryer. Well, I don't need one. So, I'm not even going to pay attention to it. 6 months from now, I might need one, but I'm not now. So inbound marketing is about them coming to your website, okay? So that's where you got to get that buyer persona. You got to develop that persona, understand who your customer is, because what you're going to want to do is when they come to your site, you're going to want to convert that visitor to a lead, and you're going to do that by perhaps having a form on your site. You may ask them, say, look, give me your name and your email address, and we'll give you the top 5 things you need to know about whatever. You provide them with information, education, in exchange for their contact information. And what you do is you follow that up with an email blast. You follow that up saying, here's another piece of information. And what you want to do is nurture that process along. And with some of these tracking things like a HubSpot, you can track what companies come to your website. You get a list to say, these businesses came to your website today. And I did this. I had a company in Hauppauge that was going to my website, and I saw they were going and looking at my portfolio section of work, and they were looking at my logo designs. And they came 3 times to my page. I called up the guy and said, do you need a logo? And he said, how did you know that? Because I saw he went to my logo page on my site. It can only track businesses. It can't track individuals. So you have this kind of thing. So it's to generate more traffic, you need to generate traffic to your site. So you do that through social media, you do that through blogging, you do that from search engine optimization, and you do that from paid Google advertising. You want to get the people to your site, now convert them to a lead, because you need a little bit of information from them, and you want to continue the dialogue. That's the thing. And I'll kind of go through this quick. There's the whole funnel layer of buyers, and offering them content and calls to action on your site. Call to actions on your site is a must. What do you want people to do? Call, fill out this form, whatever it is. You got to have a call to action. You need people to respond. Okay, and this just talks about converting that lead into a sale. Okay, and you're going to use email marketing. It's going to be an integral part of that. You'll segment your lists because if you offer different products and services, you don't want to advertise widgets to someone who's interested in buying, bolts. You want to have different email lists. And of course, we want to measure everything. And what I said, everything on the internet, we measure. We want to know the social media, engagement. We want to know email, click-through rates. We want to know how many people clicked on it, how many people shared it. There's all sorts of things. Website, the traffic. We want to measure everything. We are just about done there. So here it is. Read this thing. It's mind-blowing. Every 2 days, we create as much information as we did from the dawn of civilization to 2003. Every day. That's how much content is being put out there. So where does your content sit within that? Right? That's a pretty crowded marketplace. So that's a mind-blowing statistic. All right, and then here are some resources, some good websites for social media. Those top 3 are really, really good. They have daily email blasts and things like that to share information with you. Very, very useful. Very, very useful. And I think that is it. So slide share down here at the bottom. There's the address to this presentation. It's up there.
And it's also on our website. So when we go to your thing. And Henry, do you have cards with you in case people do want to
yes, I do.
access your information?
I do have cards.
Okay, so maybe Henry can put his stuff up here. I don't know how you feel about how long you have.
Oh, no, go ahead. Ask questions. Oh, yeah, that's fine.
If they want to come and speak to you, I don't know when you want to go, but I don't want to.
If you have questions, ask one.
Okay, okay. I do have a question,
Yeah.
one last question. Is there any reason in the world that you would tell a company to do regular print advertising
Yeah.
or direct mail?
Yeah,
Okay.
and I've done that. Absolutely.
Okay. Still think that's.
I'm a marketing company. I don't just do websites. I do marketing. And one of my clients, a large company, I just handle their print. That's all I handle is their print budget.
Okay.
I just do their print. And then we opened up a new branch. It's a bank. And we opened up a new branch. And what we did is we sent out a direct mail. We canvassed the whole area in that town for the new branch, advertising opening up a CD,
Okay.
the deposit, and they got a great rate. We got $7 million in deposits off of that direct mail card.
That's
So-
amazing.
Direct mail is only as good as your list, right? You got to have a good list. If you're buying a list and you're just trying to blanket, you got to have a good list. So it's the right mix. With some people, it's going to be really heavy internet. It's going to be maybe the bulk of your business. Other people, the pie may be a little bit more evenly divided between print, broadcast, internet. You got to find the right mix. But newspapers and things like that they're suffering a little bit.
Do you have a recommendation if you want to create your own visual graphic information?
Like a infographic.
Yeah, if you want to make your own.
Google actually had some sort of beta thing where you could create your own infographic. I don't remember the address, but there are websites out there that you can actually create an infographic online where you can create it. And if you just, no, because I do them from scratch. That's part of what I bill people for. So I don't really follow the template ones, but there are some out there you could do it.
I just want to.
Jeff mentioned concept contact. Have you had any experience with MailChimp?
Yeah. I use MailChimp.
Any comparison or contrast?
It's tough. The one thing I'll say about MailChimp is that it has responsive templates. So those email blasts come in on a smartphone. And the last time I used Constant Contact, they didn't. But that's been a while. Constant Contact's good. It's the leading one out there. It's the more. But I like MailChimp.
As I said, we're doing the email marketing workshop on May 8th if you want to sign up for that. But I want to just, before everybody leaves, I want to just say a huge thank you to you, Henry, because
Oh, thank you for your
I don't know about all of you, but I got little information. It was scary. And that whole thing about build it, they will come, Not so true.
That's very true.
Thank you, Henry.
So,
I really,
Thanks,
that was
Thank you.
unbelievable.
Thank you very much.
Please stay in touch with me.